Arizona, homeowner's best friend.
Define a microclimate. If I looked it up in the dictionary, what would it say?
Well, you may not find it in a dictionary, but maybe the internet, you might find it there. I don't know. It's kind of a newer term, but if you think about a climate zone, so we understand what a climate zone is. We're in 9B or 10A, depending on what you're looking at now. They've made some shifts in Arizona and different climates that we've got here, climate zones. So you've got the USDA climate zones, and so they're relative to your frost calendars, things like that. And then you've got your subclimate zones, which would be like where you live in the valley of, if you're in the Valley of the Sun here in the Phoenix area, you got different areas that are a little bit higher elevation, might be a little bit cooler. You've got maybe have a 5-degree difference between some of the areas here in the valley. And then you've got in your yard specifically, whether you got 10 acres or a tenth of an acre, you've got, or even a backyard patio, or even just a balcony, and that's all you've got. You've got a microclimate, and those microclimates are based on really sun orientation, how the shade affects things. And we've all experienced this before. It's like if you're on the west side of your house or on the west side of a building and you stand within a couple feet of that building in the afternoon, you're not only feeling the heat of the sun, you're also feeling the radiant heat of that wall just baking you from both sides. So it's extra hot. Now, same time of day, if you walk on the other side of the building, on the east side, you're going to actually feel a relative cooling, up to 30-degree difference in temperature just in that space. So that difference is really what we're talking about. We're talking about microclimates. So you're in the same climate area. The average temperature for that area is, obviously, you can look on the weather station and weather apps and you'll find the weather for that day. But then you're going to have a 30-degree swing, up to a 30-degree swing, just in different parts of the yard relative to its relationship to the sun, the tree cover, and relative to any barrier that's around that space. And so that's what we're talking about. We're talking about some universal way to map out the microclimate of your space so that you can make and take the benefits of that 30-degree shift in temperature and the different things going on in these different microclimates to your advantage. And that's what a microclimate is. I don't know if that's a short way to explain it because it's kind of a complicated scenario, but that's really what's going on.
So a microclimate is something you can create yourself.
You can absolutely create it. It's just like you might want to create shade to create a cooler space in your backyard. You are creating effectively a microclimate. That's what you've created, a microclimate. That's the word for it, and that's how we term it. And those microclimates can shift relative to the seasons. But what we've done at Agriscaping is since 2001, we've been studying microclimates. We've been trying to classify them, try to build a better science around it so that people can self-identify these locations, what they do, what can grow there, how things grow there, rather than just the general term is what is typically out there in most scholarly lands. It's just, you need a microclimate, and then they explain it, but then it's always different. And so we're trying to make it more standardized, a standardized system for identifying a microclimate and utilizing that same microclimate.
Rosie on the house, every Arizona homeowner's best friend.